They say in life, half of it's about timing and half of it is about luck. And I think last night, timing played a big part in most of what happened. The timing of Vicario's unbelievable sweeper keeper moves was spectacular. The timing of some of the tackles of other players in the team wasn't quite on point. An inch too late or an inch too soon, half a second too late, half a second too soon, to coin a phrase from any given Sunday, and you miss it. And Tottenham last night, the timing wasn't quite on it. We're here to discuss that. By the way, talking about timing, I actually feel like some of my comments post-match in the immediacy after the fact, the timing, the proximity to the event, the lack of ability to see the actual game afterwards on telly. I think I said some things regarding Ange, regarding his decisions that, on reflection, I'm not sure I feel quite as strongly about. And this is why we're going to play Devil's Advocate. This is going to be a special episode of Devil's Advocate, because on this particular show, we've got the usual two coming in right now, but there's going to be so many different possible takes on how to analyze and how to feel about what happened. We lost our unbeaten run, Ange's unbeaten track record at home, blown out of the water by the old enemy. The best, some would say, the best rivalry in football, one of the best games of the Premier League season, if not one of the best games for many seasons. Absolutely sensational. But Tottenham on the unfortunate receiving end of a 4-1 loss. We're going to talk about it right now. Guys, before you do anything else, please smash the like button. It's really important that you do that for me. The channel doesn't find new people unless the people that are currently watching smash the like button. Hit the subscribe if you're new around here, these here parts. And also, when I bring them in, make sure you get over to see these guys on their respective channels. Let's bring them in, starting with Dave, and then right behind him, Johnny. Dave, I'll start with you. How the devil are you, my man?
Yeah, I'm all right, Shani, as good as can be after losing to Chelsea. You know, it's one of them. I don't think the scoreline reflects the game whatsoever. I think they caught us late on when our legs were sort of gone. But look, they do say, Sean, you learn more from a defeat than you do a win. And what I did learn last night is that we've got a group of players who fight for the badge, you know, fight for what's on their chest. And that's what I take away from last night.
Yeah, 100%, mate. So much to chew through on this special episode of Devil's Advocate. Johnny, how you doing, buddy? I spent the last night, at least the first half, with you.
Yeah, you did.
Then ducked away. Got accused of being a Chelsea fan. Almost had a punch up.
My lips are sealed. I'm saying nothing. Yeah. I'll take the fifth. Yeah, I'm conflicted. As I said earlier, I'm caught between a lot of pride in the performance and anger at some of the things that went on. So I really am conflicted about the whole thing. And a bit like you know, when you have time to come back, listen to it on the radio in the car coming back, and then go through that whole pain again. I can't believe I went home and then watched 5 minutes of the build-up, all of the game and the half-time, and the reflection afterwards. Having gone through it all again, I put myself through it all again. I'm not quite sure.
It was worth it though, mate. It was worth watching it again. I got home from the stadium because I was doing the fan cams, and then I went for a final beer, and then we got in the car, and then I had to transfer the files from the car, get them uploaded. I didn't get home until 2:15, and then I sat up and watched the entire game again because I just didn't know how to feel when having watched the game again, having said what I said after the game on Henry Wright's channel, and when I was interviewing people. You know, I feel like there was a lot. I felt like, and I still do. I think there's a good argument for it. A little bit of tactical naivety in what happened in the second half, but I also feel on reflection that maybe you've got to take the bitter with the better when you are going down the Ange Ball train ride. Because for me, the reason why we were where we were, the reason why we were top of the table, the reason why everybody is buying in at Tottenham Hotspur, not just the first 11, but the people behind in the wings, the reason why they are buying in is because they love Ange, what he represents, his philosophical approach to football. And maybe if he was the sort of person that would throw that out at the first sign of adversity and tear up the book and ask everyone to go back and do something different, if he was the sort of person to do that, then maybe he wouldn't be the sort of person that would have invoked the buy-in that he had from the players thus far. And so maybe it's just one of those things that nothing's perfect, and that with this guy, if you want this sort of passion, this sort of leadership, this sort of football, if you want that sort of thing and you want the players to give everything, then with that comes a little bit of stubbornness, a little bit of deliberate need to maintain the system, even if it's going to cost you in the short term.
I actually liked Jamie Carragher last night. That's a long time since I said that. I mean, he was showing big love for Ange. Big love for the fact that he wished he'd been a defender playing in that system. He'd like to have played in that system. And also the fact what he said, which I thought was really good, that, we've seen him when he's all going well. Let's see how his press conferences are when, all goes to pot. And he said he was even better talking and delivering his speech at that defeat than he was actually in the victories. I thought he was absolutely superb, Ange, in his delivery of what he said last night. I wish he would, though, stop making those noises. The the people who are going to be mimicking him. No, he goes. He looks down. He goes.
Yeah, that microphone picks up too much on his.
But he keeps bending down. He looks at the floor. And
Dave, look, before we get into the game, I do want to ask your overall take on, because I haven't heard either of your thoughts this morning. But like, is the Ange? Well, how do you feel about him using the halfway line as an offside trap for the final 45? Was that madness, or was it just what you have to do if you believe in Ange ball?
Look, it's madness, but they do say madness is a sign of genius, right? And when I look at it, Sean, I actually think it's a tactic that it took Chelsea a lot of time to sort of unravel, but it also kept us in the game in an attacking way. So when we did turn over the ball, we could actually get at Chelsea and go and try and affect the game rather than have the whole pitch to play through. So I think it's when we brought in Postecoglou, we wanted all and out total football, and we wanted a team that goes for games. He continued on in that manner last night, despite the adversity, despite all the injuries, despite all the substitutions. I know a lot of people will say it's naive, but what do you want us to do? Sit back and be battered anyway? We didn't do that. We tried to go after the game. I thought at times we could have been a bit smarter with the pressing, maybe at times, but I admire the way we went after it. Rather than sit back and get resigned to fate, we tried to go and nick the game, and I can respect that. That's the Ange Postecoglou way.
I agree.
As for the post-match press conference, I mean, the way he handled the whole VAR situation is absolute genius.
Class.
Yeah, because with the way Arteta and Klopp handle it, right, they'll get more decisions that'll go against them, because the referees are human. They won't forget that. Whereas the way Postecoglou handled it, you watch, we'll start getting the rub of the green, I think, going forward with some of the decisions.
Let's talk about some of those decisions.
I was just going to say, Sean, that, I think, what Dave said was absolutely right. What do you want us to do? We've seen how Dyer and Emerson perform in a low block. Yeah. So what do you want to do? We confused Chelsea. Okay. I think it was actually genius. As Dave said before, it was only our legs going in the last couple of minutes, right? Where it all went wrong. Because let's be serious. We won that ball high up. We had 3 fantastic chances. Okay. We had 3. We had the Dyer volley, which I don't know.
What a strike, by the way.
What a strike, right? And he was millimetres out, right? He was fraction out. I don't know how that linesman saw it clearly because it was tight. Then we had Lolo's open goal.
Oh.
It was an open goal. He was there, right? So grateful with Sanchez. He hugged him afterwards when he was down on the ground. And then you had Son with that unbelievable run, which any time normally
he finds the corner.
If he connects with that, it's in the back of the net. And then we're having a conversation about 2-2 and the genius of Ange Postecoglou. Instead, what we've got is the moron element fan base, and you know who you are, that have been sitting here for 10 games waiting for the wheels to come off, okay?
Yeah.
Now, the wheels haven't come off in the sense that we've been crap. The wheels have come off because we've been blighted by a series of events, which I don't remember the last time I saw an entire defence go. We had sent off, injured, and, literally half of our teams, like the whole spine of our team has just been dismantled in the space of, I don't know, was it half an hour?
The other way, though, to play devil's advocate on this.
Ange out. Have you seen them? Ange
I've
out.
not seen that. That's madness.
Ange has been found out. His tactics are a joke. Give your heads a wobble.
So just to play devil's advocate, that is the name of the show. For me, put aside the individual, because I do want to talk about the fact that Romero, reckless, whether or not, and we'll bring up whether he was a red card or not in a second. Maybe we've got another lunatic in Destiny Udogie, by the way. Maybe a little bit, a brilliant lunatic. But what I would say is was there too much responsibility, given the situation we already face ourselves, right? Where you're not going to have any Van der Ven now for months. You're missing Romero for 3 games. You're missing Udogie. Oh.
Where are you getting all these special effects from? I mean, the other day it was balloons and hearts.
I don't know what's going on, mate. I'm just holding my hands up talking and they come up. If there was a lot of responsibility on Vicario, as much as he was absolutely insane, his timing of his sweeper keeper come outs was fantastic. But if Chelsea take half a yard off of a couple of those whipped in through balls over the top, he doesn't get there ahead of Sterling or Mudryk. Or worse yet, he goes in, times it, and is given a red card. And then suddenly you find yourself, not only you're down to 8 men, right? But on top of that, you then have Fraser Foster in goal for the next 3 games, who can't play anything like the I'm gonna stop with the hands. Anything like the kind of the distribution game that Vicario can. Vicario was absolutely magnificent, but I just wonder whether or not, because Johnny, I'm not sitting here saying the tactics are found out. I'm not sitting here Ange out. I'm not even, like I say, I'm 50-50. I think that you can critique and analyze the tactic. And look, it almost worked, and then unfortunately it got found out towards the end. We ran out of steam.
But was it 4-1, Sean? Was it really a 4-1? I mean,
no, it wasn't.
Spurs fans quote me. I can understand Chelsea fans and Arsenal fans 4-1. But to be thrown that by Spurs fans, for me, right? Like, what are you talking about? Were you watching the game? This could have been 2-2. If we'd have scored 2, though, we could have been 3-2 up. It could have been anything last night. With 9 men, right? When we played at Liverpool were on the back foot trying to just stop us scoring. Oh, Sean's
no, I'm here. Do you know what?
I'm here.
Do you know what? I don't understand it. You know, when Conte was in charge last season, the whole fan base was clamoring for someone that would play attacking football. Correct. That's what they wanted. And now all of a sudden they're moaning because Ange Postecoglou won't revert to defensive football that they didn't want in the first place. I don't understand it.
In one game, Dave. In one game, which they know. Look, for me, Michael Oliver is a see you next Tuesday, right?
Yeah, okay. He ruined it.
That first 15 minutes, Sean turned around to me and goes, "This is the best fifth." I said, "Unfortunately, a game's 90 minutes." He said to me, "It's been the best. It's been the best.
I've seen the best 15 minutes of football that I'd seen Tottenham play."
And I turned around to him and said, "It's a shame that the game's 90 minutes." Right? That's before anything happens, right?
Yeah. No. Then 10 seconds later, we get the second goal. It gets ruled out by millimeters, and then as soon as that happens, 5 seconds after that, Udogie's crazy 2-footed challenge.
No, you know what it was, Sean. You know what it was. No. What it was there was 2 really bad tackles.
Udogie's tackle.
No, I'm talking about Chelsea's tackles. Chelsea were frustrated at that moment, and they had 2 bad challenges on Maddison. One where he went down holding his ankle, and another one from behind. There was another one on Son where the referee said, "Get up," and Spurs, and then there was one on Romero, and Spurs got aggravated. They felt that these challenges were coming in and the referee was doing nothing, and they lost some sort of.
They lost their head.
Moment.
Honest,
18th minute, they lost their head, and suddenly the tackles started coming in from Romero, from all of them, in fairness. And that's where we lost our composure. Porro made that bad pass, which led to the goal. And then you had the incident where, again, Romero was thumped in the back, and it should have been a free kick, okay, and nothing got given, and he kicks out Beckham style. So that was when we lost it. We lost
reckless. It was
reckless, but we go 2-0 up. That game's never coming back to Chelsea.
Okay. On that, I agree. I think, first 15 to 18 minutes, I thought we were flying. We were the better team, and I'll be honest, it looked like we were going to go on to smash them 3-4-0. It really did. However, Oliver decided he'd rear his head. VAR got involved, and I think it completely ruined and changed the course of the game. Look, Michael Oliver was giving them absolutely everything. Anytime a Spurs player touched them, blew the whistle. Anytime one of their players touched us, he's there telling us to get up. And I can understand why our players are getting frustrated, because it wasn't just yesterday's game. This has been going on for weeks since that Liverpool game, since the VAR, and they haven't given away that goal that wasn't given to Liverpool. Ever since then, the referees have been against Tottenham. It's like they were waiting to even it out somehow. You look at Fulham, right? Paulinho made 3 or 4 challenges before Højbjerg made one. Højbjerg picked up a yellow on his first one. Paulinho was still going into the second half without receiving a yellow card.
Correct.
You go to not last week, the game before that. The guy is absolutely straddling Edozie. That bald idiot is bloody looking at him and just saying, play on. Edozie does the same thing 2 minutes later, free kick given and a card given. And I can understand why the Spurs players are getting frustrated, because it doesn't seem like the referees are being fair or giving them the fair rub of the green because of what happened against Liverpool. And we all know, they came out and famously apologised and everything for it. So I can understand why the players took the matter into their own hands at a certain point. Look, I think some of the decisions yesterday were harsh. I even think the fact that VAR got involved so much in the game, that led to Van de Ven pulling his hamstring because of the stop-start nature.
Well, I want to talk about Van de Ven's injury in a minute. Look, I agree with you guys generally. I do. I think that Michael Oliver didn't give us any of the 50-50s.
We're not talking about this.
And I think you're spot on regarding. Hang on, Johnny. I think you're spot on with regarding the frustration of the players. That boils over. But at the end of the day, the referee, you have to play to the whistle, and I don't want to make excuses for recklessness. I think that I've seen people last night on channels. Like I say, I was up all night long watching as much content as I could, because I felt like, for the first time, I'll be honest, I absolutely adore going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I spend all my money on going to paying expensive tickets to go away from home. I go to every home game that I can. No, I've got a season ticket again. But I felt like last night I had no clue what was going on, because there was 15 minutes of VAR stoppages in both halves, give or take. And the ability for the VAR, if you're watching it on telly, you at least get to hear the commentary, see the replays, and be able to make your own mind up one way or the other. At least you're being given evidence. You're being able to experience it in real time. When you're in the stadium, I looked at my phone. I've got about 9 minutes of me holding my camera at the giant board with the VAR checking this, checking that. It's so frustrating. And so, but what I would say is, having seen all of the decisions, you win some, you lose some. But I don't think that you can actually. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that the VAR got them all right. I think all of the offsides, they were always very close. Most of them that take more than a minute to decide are very close. But technically, by the letter of the law, if you're offside, you're offside. And Sonny was offside. Eric Dyer was offside. The handball from Sterling was offside. So was whoever the other one was for them. I thought that Udogie was incredibly lucky to stay on with the 2-footed challenge, even though he got the ball. We've seen it how many times, and this is not me being negative. This is me just trying to be fair and balanced and devil's advocate. And once I'm almost finished, the 2-footed challenge, I think you've seen that being given as a red card. He gets lucky with the yellow. The second yellow is absolutely a yellow card, and I think Romero could have been sent off for the reckless flick. You've seen it happen before. You see David Beckham against Argentina, but it happened then, all the way back in 1998.
Do you know what the issue though, Sean, is how long it takes for them to come to it? You're sitting at home on the telly. As soon as they bring up that first picture, you can more or less tell straight away It's how long they're taking to come to decisions, and they're that scared now because of some of the high-profile errors that they've made this season alone, that they're checking things that I don't think they should be checking, to be honest with you, because they're so scared and so worried of making a mistake after what happened at the Liverpool game, after some of the decisions this time round, and it just doesn't need to take that long. It's absolutely ruining the game.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think the Romero one is a red card. I think it's extremely harsh. I think I say to everybody, put a football in front of a solid object. As a defender, go to absolutely letter that ball clear and tell me that your follow through, because when you kick the ball, your leg's going in a forward motion. Tell me with that your foot or your leg ain't going to hit that solid object in front of you. Of course it is. And then collisions happen all over the pitch. If it's outside the penalty area, that's not a free kick. That's not a penalty. I don't think they don't give a free kick on it. I think it's extremely harsh. It's just a normal collision. The guy's gone to clear the ball. The other guy's in front of him. Where do you want him to put his leg after he's kicked the ball? I think it's extremely harsh. And I think, that's where people that haven't played the game are coming to these sort of decisions. And I'd also argue, if the goal was given, they don't go back and check that.
Right. But do you think, though, given what we've seen, all you want from the referee is consistency, right?
Yeah.
If you give one week, you have to give the next. Like, you go back to the handballs that Romero was given against in the Arsenal game that led to their penalty. Ever since then, every single one that has been consistent the same has been given as a penalty. And Man United still talk about Romero against them at Tottenham at the start of the season not being given as a penalty. But now there is a consistent theme. At least And with that particular screenshot that I put up there, like, I understand your point, but that looks incredibly similar to several others that we've seen that have been red carded this season.
Look, Gusto got one for Chelsea, right, earlier on in the season. I can't remember who it was against, but I didn't agree with it at the time. At the end of the day, people are going on like Romero was reckless and rash. He wasn't making a challenge. He cleared the ball. That's the big difference here. He wasn't sliding in. He wasn't out of control. He wasn't reckless. He went to clear the ball. There's a big difference there, and that's why, for me, it's not a red card. I can understand if he's lunging off the ground and he's, it's reckless and he completely misses the ball, but he doesn't. He clears the ball first, and with his swinging leg, it's obviously going to hit the person in front of him. I personally don't think it's a red card. I think it's one where Romero's past reputation has come back to perceive him, and that's why he's got punished for it, because a lot of people have praised the guy for cleaning up his act this year. Oh, look how much Romero's cleaned up his game, this, that, and the other. It's also his fellow countryman. I personally, I don't think it's a red card. I really don't. I think his past reputation has come back to haunt him.
I do. Well, two things can be true though, Johnny. Right? His reputation could be coming back, and also it could be a red card. What's your take on it?
Reputation, like it's just the same fans that are waiting for us to lose a game, and the same fans, waiting to say, I told you he's never changed. They're just waiting there for it to happen. What happened there?
I don't know. Dave's gone. Let me just change back the speaker. Here we go.
Okay. I don't know what happened there, but I've got to say, I think there were three moments in that where that goal penalty happened. Porro made a disastrous pass and tried to get back and was trying to cover his arse. Mickey van der Ven comes running in and does a wild swipe and completely misses, because I can tell you, if he'd have connected, it would have looked far worse than Romero's. But there's two things that I really piss me off here, right? Is we could have had the FA turned down, the Premier League turned down automatic offsides that they use in the World Cup. That could be cutting down so much time. If they used it at the World Cup, I'm sorry, it's good enough. It's absolutely good enough for us to use.
What's this? The offside in the ball, the automated offside.
Yeah. Offside, right?
Yeah, automated offside for me. I don't know. I understand, but you know what? To me, I genuinely think I completely agree with Dave in his assessment that the VAR takes as long as it does because they have to scrutinize every single thing and go through it and double check it, triple check it, quadruple check it.
That's why offside takes away.
Offsides is one part of it, but the red cards is another. And when you have situations where there's two or three things happening in the same play, like Newcastle, Arsenal, and at the same time with Dave mentioned with Chelsea's goal, if the goal counts and the red card doesn't because it's happened after the final piece of play. But to me, like, if you've got to a point with VAR where not only is it damaging the enjoyment of the game and people that go to the match-going fans are completely left out of consideration, then on top of that, when you see that the referee on the field would rather not make a difficult decision, hand it over to the VAR who has the benefit of all the replays, and then they themselves always go through the process of scrutinizing it and then sometimes send it back. It seems like a bit of a collusion to make sure that everyone's in the refereeing world is protected. It gets to the point where you go, I'd rather just scrap it all and just keep goal line technology and then go back to the good old days where you could be angry with the guy in the middle and the two guys on the sides, and you win some, you lose some, and you let human error be a part of the game again, because this situation is just out of control and it's spoiling the game of football.
I actually think what I was going to go on to say was the thing that I think is a big miss in this whole scenario here. The fans that pay the money, not the fans that stay at home, right? I pay my money for my Sky and all the rest of it, but I also pay my money to go to the game. I'm paying big money. There's people paying fortunes to go to the game. Why are we the only ones that don't know what's going on?
Yeah.
So instead of us not knowing what's going on, make us part of the entertainment. Make us part of it, right? I want to hear them talking on the mic.
And show the replays on the screens as well.
Switch the stadium. Right, no, hang on a second, right? Switch the stadium. Switch it, right? I see it in American football. Where they replay, it's on the screen, right? Pass interference or challenge after the play, right? The fans all know it's part and parcel. At least let us hear as Stockley Park what is going on. Why should only the people at home who haven't paid the money to go to the stadium be the only ones that have a clue what's going on? Whereas we're sat there for 5 minutes saying it's this, it might be this, it might be that. If we're not even shown images, but what we're shown is the voice where they're saying, right, can you look at that? We're looking at a possible red card. The goal's offside. We don't need to see the image, but we can hear it. Just so when you see in the, for example, American football, the guy comes onto the mic, it's been discussed, pass interference, and we know
They do it in rugby, mate. They do it in rugby. Yeah, it takes 2 minutes. Rugby's a better example because it's still a stop-start game.
So what does that do, Sean? What it does is it adds to the excitement. It adds to the entertainment. What we had, though, by mistake or by design, they showed on the big screen the challenge from Romero, right?
Yeah.
And you heard the crowd go, oh, because they didn't think it was a red card, right? So they can show it. What, you think every decision... I see like all the stuff that's going on. So every decision, yes, they're going to boo. Yes, they're going to jeer, but that's all part of entertainment. They're not going to start launching rockets onto the pitch, whatever, when they see a decision's gone against them.
I think that some stadiums don't have... Oh, go on, Dave. Yeah, go on. You want to come in, mate?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think the difference between American football fans, rugby fans, cricket fans, and football fans is football fans will, make an intimidating atmosphere for the referee. There's a big clamour. Look, I agree with it. So what? But there's a big clamour to protect referees, especially after what happened at Liverpool, where they're trying to take the attention away from the referees and putting it on VAR. But it's still referees using VAR at the end of the day. And the thing is, if they start showing all that up on screen, the crowd will just go for the referee, and they don't want to put any more attention or any more intimidation on top of them. That's why they won't do it.
But Sean, right? I hear what you're saying, but for decisions like offside, you're not telling me that the fans are going to launch a riot when we see lines being drawn, right?
I would.
I can understand if it's a contentious issue. I'm not going to start launching to the guy next to me and having a fight with him because a line's been drawn and it's shown that our player's offside. Yes, I'm going to be disappointed, but why can't I be part of that? Why can't I be in the stadium?
I'm okay with your solution, Johnny. I'm also very much okay with I think the offside thing, I preferred it when the Champions League, when they have that wall that you see, and if it's something penetrates it, then it's offside. I like that. It's very clear and obvious. Even in tennis, right? When they draw the lines and someone challenges a serve,
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye, they can zoom in to the point where you can see if it's like a millimeter. Maybe it's just because there's not, it's not a static game. It's not a static pitch that's entirely accessible in one camera view or whatever. I get it. But for me, like if and we've seen it enough times this week alone, let alone over the season or over the course of VAR, if there's not enough cameras in the stadium to get an unequivocally clear, concise line that is parallel to whatever you're looking for, if you can't draw that properly, then it's not fit for purpose. And on top of that, ultimately, it still comes down to, especially in the case of red cards, it comes down to, and penalties often, it comes down to subjectivity. Yeah, was there intent? And precedent isn't always followed. And so if the referee in the middle is making his decision and then he hands it over to 4 people or 8 people in a box somewhere, who then sometimes hand it back to the referee and say, go and check on the monitor, which ultimately means you've made a mistake. We're just not saying that you have. We're going to allow you to correct your mistake rather than telling that you have. Then the whole thing is subjective anyway. So why allow it to be up to the 8 people's subjectivity rather than just one? The guy on the pitch is paid to do his job, and this system removes all accountability, and it has a level of protection over the system. And ultimately, back to the point, it's ruining the game as an enjoyment. You can't celebrate goals. You stay at the stadium for 2.5 hours. It's turning into an American football affair. The game used to be 3 or 4 minutes of injury time. You take your wins, you take your losses, but you know what's going on. The referee's decision is final. Thanks very much. Hate the referee if you want, but I just think the whole system is ridiculous.
Just on to what you're saying there, Sean, and what Johnny was saying. Look, even as a fan at home, I can't stand it. It's fucking ruining the spectacle for me. I don't want anyone to be a part of it. I want it out of the game altogether. The problem is, we were told it's going to eliminate a lot of the mistakes that were happening. But yet we're sitting here finding ourselves talking about referees more than we ever were before. And it's putting them in the spotlight more than they ever were before. And like Sean's saying, we were told it was going to eliminate errors, but the rules are that indecisive. There's that many different interpretations under a handball rule, everything else. It gives you like 5, 6, 7 different opportunities to be able to come to the decision you want to come to. But every referee is different, and every human being is going to interpret the rules a little bit different. So what you're seeing is what Michael Oliver on the pitch, which he didn't blow for at the time on Romero yesterday, because when it's not slowed down and it's at the speed of the game, it's not a free kick, it's not a penalty. Right? Then you've got some guy in the VAR room who looks at it and goes, no, if I was refereeing, I'd give that as a penalty. And this is the problem. Everyone has different interpretations. And for me, it's ruining the game. It's all we're ever talking about now. And I'm actually of the opinion football is too fast, especially at Premier League level, to implement VAR properly ever. Anyway, you look at the sports that is implemented. The only thing in a rugby game, for instance, the ball might have gone over to the other side of the pitch, but the game hasn't exactly moved on a lot. Cricket, same like that, But when it comes to football, you can have the ball at one end and up in the back of the net at the other before, and then all of a sudden they're looking at a VAR check for something that happened 30 seconds ago. Football, in my opinion, is too quick to implement VAR. At the end of the day, if it's still down to human interpretation, go back to human error on the pitch. I'll accept that from the referee on the pitch. What I can't accept is when they give us something that they tell us, it's going to eliminate all this and it's going to give you a 99.9% success rate. And it's just, it's becoming the biggest talking point. No one likes it. Managers have got to the point, usually get fined for speaking out. They got to the point where they don't give a crap anymore. They're all speaking out about it. Everyone in the game, it's a big secret. Everyone in the game does not want VAR. Players, management, coaches, referees, they don't want it. But the reason why no one will actually really come out and say it properly, or a lot of people won't, is because the money that's invested into it, and they'll never, ever take it out. They'll always try and make it work because of the money they spent on it trying to implement it.
Sean, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Have referees, due to the introduction of VAR, got lazy and complacent because
100%.
Because of the fact that they know that should they make a mistake, there's nothing, because the VAR will be there to
100%.
rescue them. It's
100%.
like a trapeze artist with a safety net, knowing it don't matter if I fall off. There's always someone there to catch me, and I think this is what's happened with referees.
I agree. I 100%. Like I say, the only thing I would say for anyone that's dialed into this stream late, and by the way, smash the like button, people. There's 400 people in the house. We should be on at least 200 likes. I'm not even going to check. I'm just going to assume that you guys are doing the right thing and hitting the like button.
Be embarrassing if it wasn't.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to find out until afterwards. But smash the like. And also make sure you smash the subscribe button to Irish Hotspur right here. And also Johnny H3232. Follow him on Twitter. I'll be putting the links up. The links will be in the description as well, if they already aren't. But I don't want people who are late into the show to sit here and think that this is a panel full of people that are saying that we were robbed last night. Johnny, Dave thinks that Romero shouldn't have been sent off. I think Johnny's somewhere in between. I personally think that the VAR was actually right for most of the calls. I think that the referee got a lot of the 50-50s wrong. But I don't. Yeah, this stream isn't about making excuses. What we're actually trying to figure out, really, we've sort of drifted off topic a little bit. We're also trying to figure out whether or not, Ange got it right. And as I said at the start, after the show, after the game, I came out, I was angry. And I said, I think that I don't think Ange was responsible. I think Romero let us down. I think that Udogie needs to be a little bit less reckless because he's such a talented player, but he's got a little bit of a lunatic kind of element to him. And I thought that the other I think Basuma had an off night. I think there was lots of people that weren't spectacular. But for me, I was sitting there at the end of the game thinking, we're 1-1. It's 70 minutes gone, and we're using the halfway line as an offside trap. And there's a picture I want to bring up to you.
7 in a row, is that one?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
I mean,
7-1.
First and foremost, you can see every single Pedro Porro. He's already making the run. There's a presumption here that we are using the halfway line or get there or thereabouts as an offside trap. And look, it worked a few times, but I'll still make the point that if it wasn't for Vicario's brilliance, then this tactic could have on another day seen us, if Chelsea were better and Nico Jackson could have had 8 goals in the game, if he was a better finisher, we could have been on the receiving end of an 8-1 loss in a world where Chelsea finished their dinner and Vicario wasn't as on point and spectacular as he was. So I'll ask the question again. Is it something you just have to love and admire, and some days it's just going to go absolutely terrible? Some nights you go out drinking and you have the best night ever, right? You have 4 or 5 beers and it's just absolutely hilarious, most amazing memories. But every now and again, you push your luck a little bit and then you end up being sick. Is that what Ange Ball is? Where you're having a great time most of the time, enjoying what you're doing, but then occasionally that comes with you push the boundaries, and maybe one or two times you're going to have one too many. Or was it tactical naivety?
Neither. Look, we can't sit here and moan as soon as something doesn't go our way. Many fans said last season, I want a manager who focuses on what we're doing and not what the opposition is doing. We got that. Now things don't go our way. We're looking for a scapegoat. We're looking for someone to blame. And again, like what happened against Fulham, everyone's going for the obvious, the manager. I don't buy it. I don't agree with it. And for me, like I said, I think it's tactical genius, because on another day, we also could have went and nicked that game or got something out of that game. It's high risk with a lot of rewards. Sometimes them rewards won't be there. But for me, I accept what it is.
Would you be saying the same if we lost the game 8-1?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, probably I would be, Sean. Look, at the end of the day, this is what people wanted. This is what people called for 6 months ago. Why they're sitting here moaning about it now that they got it? Not moaning. Just putting up.
Everyone's putting up the. Well, I'm certainly not moaning. I'm putting up. I'm playing the devil's advocate. I'm just trying to figure out, is there a balance? I'm also very conscious of the fact that we saw under Conte that you put Eric Dyer at the back and he can't defend a low block, nor can he defend a high line. So ultimately,
he's worse than a high line, probably.
Well, I thought he was actually very good last night. Generally, I thought Eric Dyer came on and did a good,
but
not just for the finish, but for his defensive work.
Yeah, I mean, he was, but also with 3 of the breakaways that Big Vic saved, it was his fault.
Right. Was it? Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
I mean, look, the thing is, it's a bit like if my grandmother had balls, she'd be my grandfather. Football's a game of ifs, buts, and maybes, right? But but it was brave football. Brave football. We've had years of boring football, right? It was brave. You know, I'm looking at it thinking, what are we doing? What are we doing? But at the end of the day, I would rather have tried. There's an adage: better to have tried and failed than never to have tried at all, right? And that's what we did last night. We tried something. We dared them to break us down. They struggled with it. We had 3 fantastic chances to have scored and really embarrassed them. Because let's be honest, right? 4-1 flattered them. They could have gone out there. I mean, the pride they had, those players coming up to the fans and going, shush, when you've just beaten 9 men and you've had everything going for your way. We've lost our centre-backs. We've lost Madders. We've lost our creativity. And you're celebrating like you just won the cup. Give me a break. Give me a break, right?
All right.
Okay.
So the consensus on this panel then from you two is, no, I'm all for it. If we go down to 8 men next time, do the same again. Keep going, keep going. We never stop. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And I think the comments generally, from what I've seen, everyone in the comments is basically in agreement with you guys. Yeah, that it's part and parcel. That's what Ange Ball is. If you love Ange Ball for the good, you've got to love Ange Ball for the risky. And I'm on board. Like I said, last night I went to bed and I got home and I was like, you know what? Before I speak on this tomorrow, I really need to watch the game and have a kind of second think about it. And I think on second thoughts, I genuinely now feel like there's a little bit of a balance. I don't necessarily feel like we should have parked the bus, but I feel like they're playing the halfway line as an offside trap. Tactically, maybe it did squeeze the game. Maybe it didn't, allow us to have opportunities. But I also think that I'd much rather take Ange Ball for, warts and all, if that makes sense, than have to kind of sacrifice what our new vision is for the sake of trying to see out a 1-1 draw.
I think when you look at the game, right, there was a period where we just sort of booted the ball away. And I think the whole idea behind it is if we do win the ball over, we can create chances. But also, if we win the ball over and we lose it again, we're not already penned back in our own goal, and they're just recycling it. We're by playing that high line, we were having to make them work for it. Rather, if we would have sat back, they would have camped in our half, left to right, and carried on playing, and we would never have got a foothold in that game whatsoever. For the last five or so minutes of that game, we had them completely penned back in. They didn't even want to come out. They were protecting that result from about 85 minutes onwards. For me, I just think I think it's very clever. I think if you're looking at it from a defensive standpoint, you would say naive. But we didn't hire a defensive manager. When you look at it from what we hired and his philosophy, I can understand it because there was many arguments under Conte when we're trying to play out from deep. That we're getting the ball turned over in our own half closer to our goal, which is causing us a lot of problems. But playing that high line, it doesn't do that. It means they actually have to work for that opportunity. So I can understand it.
Let's move forward, guys. Let's talk a little bit about what's going to happen going forward. We've gone from feast to famine in terms of defensive capabilities, at least for the short term. Romero is going to miss. I always thought that this season red cards were two game bans and
violent. It depends whether intent. Violent contact, I thought, was 3 games.
Right.
I think we can contest it. If I was Spurs, I'd be contesting the 3-game ban over the 2-game ban.
In any event, he's going to be missing, unless there's an absolute change of heart, which there won't be, then he's going to be missing Wolves, Villa, and Man City. Couldn't have come at a worse time. Udogie is going to be missing Wolves.
Dyer versus Haaland.
Yeah, and Van der Ven, we don't know yet. Someone asked the questions, is there an update on the injury? Don't know. But listen, for me, if you've torn your hammy, which it looks like he did, then not only is he's probably 3 months, he won't be back until after January. But on top of that, I've been saying it for ages on this channel. If you have a player, it's usually a wide man. It's usually a player who relies on his pace. It's a fullback or it's a winger. If they rely on their pace and they get a hamstring injury early in their career, it's a forever thing that blights them. And Mickey van der Ven absolutely is a player that relies on his pace. And I'm absolutely gutted for him because I fear that this isn't just going to be a 3-monther. This will be something that rears its head on and off for a long time to come. Dave, I'll start with you, mate. First First of all, how damaging is the injury to Van de Ven? We don't even know about Maddison yet. Maddison has also got a scan. How damaging is it to him? How damaging is it potentially to our ambitions this year, whatever they are? And then we'll talk. I'll come to Johnny after that, and then we'll talk more specifically about Wolves and Villa at the end.
Well, first of all, I think the Pogmall should come out and send an apology to Van de Ven, because they're the reason why he got injured. When you're a player who relies on your pace and has the pace he has, and you're a professional athlete, there's a reason why you have to go through so much to warm your body up. And the reason why you do that is to prevent injuries. But when you're having stop-start nature and the decisions are going on for so long, your body's cooling down, hot and back up, cooling down, hot and back up, without having that warm-up that you would have had before the game. And that's where it exposes you to injuries a lot more. And that for me, is where Van de Ven got his injury, because of the stop-start nature of the game.
It's a really good point. It's a really good point. So another reason to have VAR, isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah.
But look, Romero's, whether I think it's a red card or not, he's suspended. Van de Ven's injury is a huge loss. Look, the two of them. I thought Højbjerg was exceptional at centre back last night. A bit like Eric Dyer. He moved back to centre back. I wonder will Højbjerg do that, but be able to do that a bit more competently. Maddison's injury. Look, do you know what, Sean? I said this a couple of weeks ago. If referees don't clamp down on the amount of times Maddison's getting studs raked down him, eventually it's going to lead to an injury. And that's exactly what we seen last night. They were raking down on him. Referee's not giving it, and then he gets injured. And again, I blame the referee for Maddison, because they're not protecting him out there. It happened loads against Palace, loads against Fulham, and they're not protecting him. And it's pissing me off. So I think I blame the referees for these injuries, if you want me to be brutally honest. But look, there's been a lot made around Tottenham. Do we have squad depth? What if certain players go out injured and certain players come in? Well, now's the test. Let's muck in, enjoy it, and ride it out, and see what the answers are to a lot of those questions or a lot of those doubts that were around Tottenham.
Yeah, I love that. We are going to come on to the specifics of Wolves and all that in a minute. Interesting idea about playing Højbjerg as a centre back, because I agree with you. I think he was absolutely phenomenal, and I think Emerson Royale as well, maybe being shoehorned, but in a comfortable way. Maybe we have got options. Johnny, before we get into all that stuff, though, how big of a miss is Van de Ven going to be?
It's huge. I mean, listen, don't want to say told you so, but told you so. We were one injury away from disaster, and how can you go into a season with one left-sided centre back? I said we should have signed a Tosin or someone like that who can play in the position. I don't care. I'm eating my blueberries actually at the moment. I'm eating healthy.
Very healthy.
Nice, very good.
Right, you are. If you see me clapping, it's still the fruit flies buzzing, dive bombing me. We should have bought the cover. I was one that was fuming that we let Reggie go to Man United, because I said if anything happens to Destiny, we got Ben Davis. Disaster. Should never happen. Big up, Danny. Good to see you last night.
All good, mate. Good to see you.
And so we find ourselves in a situation caused by our own self. Daniel should have authorised another centre-back to be brought in. I know this is a long-term plan. I thought if you don't play Højbjerg, look, if we had a 2-game ban, Romero, I could get away with it. And I would end up potentially using the pace of Destiny Udogie and play him next to Romero and play Emerson Royal at left back.
Do you think Udogie's got the...
He's got the pace and he's got the power.
Yeah, but does he have the positional experience to play centre back?
We don't have any left-sided... We don't have any left-sided...
Well,
players.
the other option is to go youth, right? Dorrington.
It's not good enough. They're not ready, man. They're not ready. I'm sorry. Not ready.
I disagree.
I think they are good enough. You see Ashley Phillips is consistently playing the under-21s, Dave. Do you think he's ready to come straight in?
I think him and Darrington are ready to come straight in. I just think they're waiting for their opportunity. I've seen them for the under-21s defensively. I think they're good. And also on the ball, I think they're ready. I think they're ready to play this system.
Different level, though, Shawnee. Come on, you know that.
Look, it's a different level. But the thing is, for instance, Darrington has been training with the first team for quite some time. With the way the under-21s play and the senior team plays, there's not that much of a step up in terms of what you need to learn.
Listen, I 100% agree with you. And Ashley Phillips is quick, as
Ashley Phillips plays more on the right though, so he might come in for Romero maybe, if at all.
Yeah, what I'm worried about, it's a huge ask to come straight in. I mean, it's a huge ask to ask them to come in to games like this, and when they make a mistake. As I said to you before, when you're 18 and you're playing as a striker or a midfielder or a winger, and you make a mistake as an 18-year-old, there'll be another chance. And it'll keep going, and you bring them on. When you're 18, as a centre-back, and you make that mistake, it's final. It's, you're going to pay a heavy price. And I just don't want to ruin Shawnee's firework display that was just going on there in the background. Right? I just don't want to ruin their confidence coming into a game and seeing them smashed because of the lack of backup that we've got at the moment. Maybe one can come in, I think he'll be brave enough. I actually think that Angie's the type of guy who won't give a shit if they're young. He'll play him.
Do you think,
the thing is,
guys,
they've been on the periphery for a while?
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean, go on.
No, go on, Dave. Finish your point. Go on, mate.
I was going to say, the thing is, they've been on the periphery for a while. They've been up and down training and that. And I do get what Johnny means, right? It's a huge ask for them to step up and be as flawless as Romero and Van de Ven. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think in previous years gone by, you would say because of the difference in style of play between the under-21s and senior team, it was a massive step up because you have to learn tactics, you have to learn things, this, that, and the other. Where it's very similar right now. So for me, it's just a matter of putting them out there. Are they good enough? Well, you'll never know that answer until you give them a game. Ideally, you want that to be early rounds of an FA Cup, right? That's an ideal situation. But we're not in an ideal situation right now. We're in a needs-must situation. Now, look, I roll out.
Quinny, I do see them, though. Just to say, Quinny, by the way, Dave and I do watch the under-21s a lot. We're not saying they're not good quality, but the step up, the under-21s, the level of football in the under-21s is probably League One level.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna, even if you have to bleed one of them in, you'd ideally like to do it in the Premier League, in a comfortable game when you're 2-0 up with 10, 15 minutes to play, give them some minutes there, and at least make sure that you have the stability of the rest of the back four around them. So you do one at a time when they've got, you can't do, it's more difficult to do it if you bring in Ashley Phillips and next to him, he's got Højbjerg or Dyer that's being shoehorned into a left-sided centre-back role. Like, it's not gonna give him the best confidence having someone that's not necessarily, accomplished next to him. So, you either just throw it in the deep end and see what happens, or you wait and bide your time and have to ask a little bit more. And I personally think I hadn't even thought of it, but Pierre Højbjerg did look really good yesterday. And I think he's the sort of guy, the sort of mentality monster that might just go, hell yeah, I'm up for that. Let's have a go.
He's up for everything.
And it put an absolute shift in, I'd imagine,
I loved him last night. I mean, I really don't understand. I mean, I've just given up defending him. I've got to be honest with you. I've just been defending him for such a long time now.
I'm going to take that stand.
Huh?
I'm going to take that stance alongside you.
I mean, really,
I think he's stepped up, and every time he's come on this season, and that again goes back to the point about Ange Ball, right? This is again one of the reasons why I kind of changed. Like I say, I haven't changed my mind because my initial thoughts were a little bit knee jerk, maybe, but why Ange Ball is worth all of the good and the little bit of crazy that comes with it is because you have. How often do you see a manager who has the buy-in of the first team squad and 95% of the people that are on the peripheral trying to come in, and people like Pierre Højbjerg that last season was a mainstay. Oh, he's gone again. Was a mainstay in the team, and then had someone like Bissouma behind him, and this season's been completely removed out of the first team plans, but still wants to come in and do his best, and is absolutely doing wonders when it's asked of him. Let me move forward away from the centre backs. Let's talk about Destiny Doggy just for the Wolves game, Johnny. What do you do there? Do you put Emerson Royale out there? Because I think Ben Davies is still injured. So is it just simple Emerson Royale?
Davis, you can't talk Ben Davies. After the game against Palace, we can't talk Ben Davies. Because we don't even have... Can you imagine Ben Davies with no Mickey van der Ven to cover for his nonsense?
Oh, it's terrifying, yeah.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Luckily Wolves haven't got Neto, otherwise it'll be curtains. But
I'm terrified.
They do have Hwang, and Hwang's an absolute danger man. So not going to be easy.
To be a wanger, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not, right? I fear for us over the next 7 or 8 games. I really do. It's going to be very difficult. The next 3 games, I can see us really struggling in the next 3 games without Romero, without Mickey van der Ven. So what do? Do you throw another person in the middle of the park to give a bit of stability, an extra midfielder?
Or Benson Core, because obviously Madison might be out injured as well, so maybe it makes sense just to go with Bissouma, Sarr, and Benson Core and kind of just add a bit more stability, right?
Or drop Højbjerg into like a deep line role in front of the defence to give a bit of cover.
Yep.
So, and then drop Madison, so we don't have that creative, but we try to get the ball out wide.
Well, if we do that, then we're espousing changing Ange ball. And I don't think Ange is going to do that, apparently, right? He's just going to keep his own system. Doesn't matter. We're doing it our way.
Yeah, but we can still play a version of it. We can still have the same ethos to pass the ball quickly. I think he's got no choice. He's got no choice but to play, what's his name? Emerson. At left back, none. I can't see.
So Emerson left back for Wolves. You're saying Emerson left back, Porro right back, and then either it's going to be Dyer and then someone else.
It's going to be Dyer and Højbjerg.
Dyer and Højbjerg, yeah.
I mean, I know that Emerson Royal has been told that he will play utility player, and he's got to be prepared to come in and play centre back. I thought he played well when he came on last night.
Yeah. So
he got involved, and he was battling away. He's getting quite cute now with the tackles and drawing the fouls in. I
think Udoggy's only a 1-game ban, Foggy. I think you only get a 1-game ban for 2 yellows.
1 game for 2
so he'll be back for Villa. Let's talk just quickly about...
Bissouma on 4 yellows. 4 yellows as well.
Yeah, Bissouma's on 4 yellows. So imagine that if he gets a yellow card, then, I don't know. It's getting thin. Dave, I don't know if you're frozen. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, okay. So you froze for a second. Quickly talk me through your back 4 for Wolves. But also, I want to talk about Madison. And also, we've got to talk about Richarlison, because there was breaking news this morning that Richarlison's got to have surgery on his pelvis. So there's another player to chalk up to.
Did you read that correctly?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So Dave, back 4 for Wolves, and also did you hear or something? See anything about Madison? Is he it's bad, isn't it? His ankles. He might have done his medial or something, right?
Well, I think it was he went down that, when no one's sort of near him. So I would say the good thing is he walked off. That gives me a bit of hope. He didn't have to be carried off like Van der Ven. But you never know what you just never know. Look, we'll wait and see what comes out with Madison. But look, in terms of my back 4, I agree with Johnny. I don't think you can play Ben Davies left back, even if he is fit, because the 2 games he's played this year, Palace and Fulham in the Carabao Cup, Van der Ven has played left centre-back both games and covering both games. So you cannot play Ben Davies in this system with a Dyer and a Højbjerg at centre-back, because there's no one there to cover him. So you can't have that. So I think Emerson will have to start in at left-back. Look, I'm not Dyer's biggest fan, and I still have concerns whether he can step into the team and really put in a performance. But he done all right last night. You know, he didn't do as bad as I thought he would have done. I think him and Højbjerg start, but I would bring Dorrington off on the bench as well, and you know, I'd give him his opportunity if Dyer starts acting the clown like he's done in previous years.
Yeah, okay. Just quickly, I didn't realise, Madzi, that he'd done his hammy before. Well, there you go. Then he's another player. Van der Ven is another player who's obviously, you say he recovered well, but it's gone again, right? If it's the same hammy, it's gone again. So it's my point still stands. I didn't realise he's done it before, but if it goes once, it always does. Look, out of adversity comes opportunity, guys. We've spoken about maybe the chance for the guys at the back to step up. What about Brian Hill Messi? Does he, under Richarlison, and we wish Richarlison well with his recovery from surgery, and obviously we wish all of the guys that are injured well with their recoveries. Does Brian Hill get minutes, significant minutes now with Richarlison out? I'll start with you on this one, Johnny.
It was funny you mentioned this because I was talking about this when I was walking out the stadium. History has shown us through adversity and situations where injuries and suspensions that managers are forced into playing players that they would never have given minutes to. And lo and behold, a miracle happens and a player comes from nowhere and takes his opportunity and performs above and beyond. And suddenly they hail the manager as a genius, right?
Yeah.
As the insight. I mean, Gareth Bale was never getting a minute, and then all of a sudden Esu Akoto got injured and he got thrown into the game, and the rest is history. But look, I think there are players there. Veliz is obviously going to benefit because if Richie is out long term, Veliz is being drip fed in. He's a big lad.
Who benefits more, Johnny? Veliz out of Richarlison's absence or Brian Hill?
No, Veliz.
Veliz benefits more, really.
Veliz. I think Veliz benefits from him because physicality, 6'2". He's got a really big, broad back. You know, he's a big big unit. He's a lump, right? So I think he there. I think Brian Gill's going to have a part to play. I wouldn't be surprised if Brendan Johnson.
You always say Brendan, don't you?
I say Brendan. Yeah. When he plays shit, I call him Brenda. I think his hamstring. I think he's going to be another one that's a bit brittle, right? That could go. So I can see Gill getting minutes there. I'm not concerned about that. I think the issue really is what are we going to do in January with no Son, no Sarr, no Basuma, no Mickey van der Ven, and God knows if we get any other injuries. Where are we? Unfortunately, dereliction of duty, the club has not done enough. Do we blame the club for not bringing in more players in depth, or is it really difficult to bring in that amount of players?
Can't do it all in one window, mate. It's a project. Project has been everyone suddenly reset expectations because of our start. I heard people the other night reassessing what failure looks like, you know, saying because we started so well, if we don't get Champions League, then that's failure, right? They're trying to navigate and raise the bar to bring back in the Levy out conversation at a level that would have been, if we finished sixth at the start of the season, everyone would have said it was a success given the circumstances. But suddenly it's a failure, and therefore we can bring that back to Levy out. And you know, agendas are going to agenda, I guess. But for me, I think that yes, you could make the argument that of course, there was another centre back could have come in, but I don't think we weren't not trying to. We just struggled to move players on. Hugo Lloris, we expected to want to leave. He had 95 opportunities and turned them all down. Eric Dyer didn't want to go. If you can't force players out, you can tear contracts up. We've gone through that ad nauseum, that debate about the benefits or the costs of doing that. And I think that if the circumstances, I think the intention was there to bring another one in. We were trying to do deals on deadline day. We were trying to bring in people like Gallagher and all sorts. So I don't think there was a lack of intention. I just think that the circumstances didn't, entirely allow for it. And yeah, look, it's come back to bite us a little bit, but
big time.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that January is absolutely. It was always going to be crucial. Now it's even more crucial. Dave, what's your thoughts, mate?
Look, you know where I stood in the summer, Sean. You know, I was going mad that the club should have done a lot more to force some of these guys out, to free up spaces, to bring players in. You know, I had many debates with you about, you know, tearing up contracts. Can you do it? Can you not do it? And, you know, I've always said, well, there's other ways, means and ways you can treat players to be able to force them out the football club. And I do think we're coming back maybe to Rue not doing that, where we would. When it came to Harry Kane, no player's bigger than the club. But when it came to Dyer and Lloris, apparently they are bigger than the club because they get to dictate what they want to do around here, which for me, I never thought was right. I think they should have been forced out, or we should have forced them out. Should have made it equivocally clear, you will not be a part of Postecoglou's squad. That's what we should have done. We didn't do it. However, last night, with everything that happened, you could never see everything happening in once. You know, with Madison, Van de Ven, Romero, Anadoji, all now missing through suspension and injuries. You can never foresee that all coming at once. So I do think that is a little bit unfortunate there. But, look, I think last night is just one of them games where so much happened. You just got to dust yourselves down. There's not really too much. You don't overanalyze it and just sort of pick yourselves up and move forward again. I don't think we're going to
overanalyze it, Dave. That's what we do, bro. We do chat. We have YouTube channels where we talk about one team and one team only. The only thing left to do is to analyze things within an inch of its life.
Did the weather affect? Where's the weather at fault? We haven't discussed the weather last night and the coldness. Right? The cold affected. Listen, but look, the thing is, we can discuss it and we just over discuss it. I'm in Dave's camp. Honestly, you know, when I'm sitting here and I can see, if we look, first of all, we should never have let Reguilón go, right? I said it. Why are we letting a play go? If we got one injury to destiny, we got no one on that left side that's any good. Cheese Strings was always going to be a disappointment. He looked like he'd been at McDonald's when he turned up, and Ben Davies is past it. I'm sorry. Right? Reguilón can play for Man United. He can play in the Champions League, but he can't play for us. He should be in that squad right now. We'd be having a different conversation. Reguilón will be coming and playing left back. Well, whatever you might think of him, right? He can play left back. And then we've got a different decision, right? We play Emerson Royal, or we've got options.
Johnny, was the Reguilón decision, though, more around, look, you think about it, you've got Destiny Udogie, you've got Mickey Van der Ven, who can technically play there, even though I don't really ever want to see him doing that. You have Ryan Sessegnon and you have Ben Davies, and so those guys count for homegrown. And so maybe if you can't have 4 or 5 left backs in the squad. If you're going to sacrifice one, you're going to sacrifice the foreign player who's not going to play that much anyway.
Look, cheesy strings, right? Cheese strings he can't play, right? You know,
Ryan Sessegnon.
Yeah.
Cheese
strings, yeah. Right. Like hamstrings, cheesy hamstrings, right? They just stretch and go pop, right? Another one that looked like, you know, look, the thing is, we knew he wasn't fit. We knew he wasn't ready. We also knew Ben Davies wasn't any good. So what does that leave? One centre-back, one left-sided centre-back. You're not going to play Mickey Van der Ven at left back, are you? Because who are you going to put in the middle of the playing left centre back? There isn't anyone. So you keep Reguilón. We should have bought a Tosin. I understand the argument, and a very valid argument, that no quality player wants to come and sit on the bench. Had we got Champions League football, this would be in a non-conversation, because a player would know, if I'm not playing in the Premier League, I'm playing in the Champions League. I can live with that, right? We don't have that option now. And I'll be quite honest with you. At the start of this season, I thought if we finish top 5 and get Champions League, for me, that's a really good season and a great start to Ange. And if we do that this season, I'll still be very happy. But we're going to get leveled at it. It's all Spursy. I think no team has ever been top with 23 or 26 points and finished outside the top 5.
Yeah. Well, I still think we are. I still think we can. You know, but obviously, look, at the end of the day, we're all feeling a little bit sorry for ourselves because of the monumental impact that 90 minutes of football against one of the old enemies, Chelsea, has had on our present options. But you know what? If we go and get a win against Wolves, and Højbjerg puts in a wonderful display at centre back, and you find out tomorrow that Van der Ven's injury is 3 weeks, not 3 months. Bearing in mind there's an international break for 2 weeks coming up, all of a sudden it's not that big of a deal. It's not nowhere near as bad. But right now we're all sitting there thinking, oh no, what do we do? But like you say, Dave, let's not overanalyze it. I mean, we are going to overanalyze it, but let's not overanalyze it too much. Let's wait and see, I guess. Dave, what do you think?
Look, I think what's different is, sorry about my camera, by the way. Everyone knows I've got shit internet. And by the way, if there's anyone that works for Air Telecommunications, please get in contact with me and sort it out. But Shawnee, what I will say is what I think is maybe a little bit different this year than in years gone by, right? Is in years gone by, we couldn't cope with injuries, and I think partly because players were done with managers and didn't really want to put in for them. Whereas I think what's different this time around is I think you've got a squad that do fight for the manager, as proven last night. And I think, that will go a long way to hopefully not seeing the drop-off because of injuries and suspensions that we've seen in previous years. And we still maintain a little bit of hope that we have enough out there and enough fight, and they're fighting for the manager to try and get over this period and still grind out some results.
Yeah, 100%. Sort of final 2 questions then, guys, for you before we round off.
I'm going to log out and log back in.
The meaning of life I haven't got time for, Sean.
I know, we're not going to get to that, mate. How much time have you got, Johnny?
No, I've probably got another quarter of an hour or so.
Oh, yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Starting with expectations for the season, right? Going in, we were, most people, I think you were one, we've been talking about it for ages. We were talking about, top half, like 8th, 7th, 8th, and good football. Everyone will be happy as long as we see progress and positivity. Then you go 10 unbeaten. Difficult not to kind of have conversations. I don't really know any serious Tottenham fans that were really talking about title challenges, maybe tongue in cheek and stuff. But generally speaking, it was just let's enjoy the ride. Obviously, you start to reassess. Did you reassess your expectations? What currently, or what before last night, what were your expectations? And then given what's happened in the last sort of 12 hours or whatever, 24 hours, what have they changed again? Have they gone back down a little bit? Or are you still somewhere that's kind of very open-minded around what to expect this year?
At the beginning of the season, I set myself a target of top 5, okay? And what I was looking at with the games, as I was looking at them, the gap, are this top 5 pulling away? And had we won last night, there was a gap that was beginning to open up. We would have been 9 points clear of Newcastle, yeah? In 6th place. That is a gap. That is a gap that would start to give me confidence that as a minimum, we could potentially get that top 5, and that's very, very achievable. Right now, I'm feeling extremely pessimistic, and that is because it's not because of one injury. It's because we're without Romero, we're without Mickey van der Ven, we could be without Maddison, we're without Richarlison, we're without Perisic, and we're coming into a period of games where we could lose 3 or 4 on the trot. And then we're going to be having a different conversation. We got Wolves away. We got Wolves away. Gary O'Neill's done a fantastic job at Wolves. They've been very unlucky the last 2 weeks with shit decisions. Then we got Aston Villa at home, which I fear for us against them with Watkins and the movement that they've got with pace. Because if you're going to
try, good away from home, mate. They're nowhere near as good away from home.
I know, but if you're looking to exploit us, it's not difficult to exploit Eric Dyer and whoever in a high line. Okay, they know late run, you're going to do them right. And then we got Man City away. I think when we got Newcastle, we could find ourselves in a really, really, in a bad run. And I can see this fan base, considering how they've turned and the abuse I've had to look at after last night's performance.
I haven't seen any of this yet. It's weird because you keep talking about it. I haven't been on Twitter today. I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, I heard it on the radio last night coming back on Talk Sport. Guys coming on saying, yeah, everyone thinking, get real, nothing's changed, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So they're there. And there's been plenty. Wait till the wheels come off, then you'll see. And I really want to see what Ange comes up with in the next 2 games. Because is he going to be brave? If he can pull something out in these next 2 games that gives me hope, I will reappraise. Right now, I think it would be fantastic if we made top 5, considering with our injuries between now and January, and people have got
quite a long time to play, isn't there? A lot of games coming up as well.
And then all the players that are going to be out in January and missing. Okay, that was already an issue coming up on the horizon that we were going to have to deal with. And how do we deal with that? Now we're going to be having to deal with this as well. So let's see.
Love that, mate. You kind of answered both questions in one. One was what's going to happen in the next 3 games, and the other was what's your expectations? And it sounds like you're saying you're pessimistic about the next 3 or 4, but you still think the top 5 is possible. Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
Dave. Same 2 questions to you, mate. How many points do we get from Wolves, Villa, City? And who's after City? Is it Newcastle straight away?
Newcastle, West Ham.
Wow.
Newcastle.
Okay, let's expand that then. 5 games. How many points?
Look, I actually think Ange Postecoglou will surprise a lot of people. I don't think he will make changes to the formation. I don't think he will take a forward off the pitch. Look, the way I see it, right, the defence have come to the party for the last 10 games. Now it's up to the forward line to come to the party. Are we going to concede goals, and should we expect to concede goals over the next 5 games? Yes, of course. But the forward line now need to come out, be fluid, and start bagging them goals to be able to get us over the line. This is their chance to come to the party now. Look, I get what happened last night, and I get where Spurs fans are in their head today, right? It's the fact that it's Chelsea makes people angry. But to Sean's phrase, you got to stop throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're 10 games, we're 11 games in. We went 10 unbeaten. We're still sitting second in the Premier League behind Man City. We still have a lot to play for. And let's not sit here and think that this season is over. Ange Postecoglou's motto, we never stop. And, I've praised a lot of these academy kids. Now's a real opportunity. With Richarlison's injury, Donnelly might get appearances off the bench. Dorrington, Phillips, these guys might step up. And you know me, Sean, I've been of the opinion even way back last season. If Dyer don't want to do the job, bring in Dorrington even at last season. I want to give these guys the opportunity. And look, I think we'll surprise a lot of people. I think we will pick up results. I still think we beat Wolves. Still think we beat Villa. City. Same. It's going to be different. We usually beat them playing defensive football, right, and catch them on the counter. This time, it's going to be a bit different.
Dave, close your eyes. Dave, close your eyes, and just picture Haaland and Alves versus Eric Dyer.
Oh, look, I know. That one, I think changes.
With a straight face, tell me what you.
No, look, that game changes a little, right? You got to be honest about it. That game, if we do go in there with Dyer at centre back,
that's all right though. I don't mind if we lose 3 points there. That's fine, right? But
West Ham, I think we beat for sure there on a shit run of form. And then Newcastle, who knows? You might have Maddison back by then, so I think you could get a result there. Look, I'm not really too worried, Sean. For me, there was a lot of questions around injuries, suspensions. What if this player goes? Well, now we're here. Let's see if the squad is as good as people made it out to be or as bad as people made it out to be. Time will tell. But certainly embrace the challenge ahead. To stay up there and get Champions League this season, it was never going to be easy. You're always going to have to pivot, go through trials and tribulations and fight to get there. But this team have that fight. And I think that's what will be different this time around. I really believe it.
And so last question then, just your expectation as it stands right now. Do Tottenham still make Champions League?
Look, my expectation is, I think we're shooing for Champions League. I think 100% we get it. I still think we're in a title race until, I'm proven otherwise. Look, all we got to do is just by hook or crook, get it to January, get the reinforcements in nice and early, and away we go again. One game does not change my thoughts on it. I look at the game. I think the referee changed and VAR changed the course of that game on another night. It wouldn't have ended up like that. We would have won 3-4-0. Look, we've lost one game. Let's not rip everything up and think Tottenham are about to explode. I think when you look at years gone by, it's happened under Conte, it's happened under Jose, but I don't think it's going to happen this time under Andrew. I think we still have enough to get through. Just quickly, last thing as well, I'd encourage everyone, to go and watch the under-21s tonight. They're playing against Cambridge in the last group game of the EFL Cup, and if they win that, they get out of the group for the first time ever into the knockout rounds. Plus, it'll be interesting to see whether Phillips and Darrington do play or whether they don't play and they get back for first team duties. I think it'll tell us a lot. So, please, everyone, get there and give the lads your support tonight.
Love that,
We've
mate.
got it in us. We've got it in us. We've definitely got it in us for that. Listen, I do think. Yeah, listen, I need to speak to Dave afterwards because he's been taking these new positivity pills, and I just want to check that he's still all right. No, listen, look, I'm not writing off our whole season. I came expecting 5th would be a great season. I would happily settle for Champions League football because it opens up a wealth of possibilities to build the squad for the next season, and we are going to need we need strength and depth. We always knew it. It's just very disappointing. Can you guys ever remember a time or any team that's been wiped out like that in a game? Because I don't remember seeing like 2 of their most crucial players gone off injured and 2
sendings off. Yeah,
and the 2 sending off.
Our first team is gone for at least the next game.
Yeah, we've literally lost our entire defence.
And like I say, just imagine if Venom, Big Vic, got one of those slide tackles wrong against Sterling, and he was out for 3 games for a red card as well. Absolute curse. But thankfully, his timing is absolutely sensational. Guys, I've just got a couple of super chats. I didn't see this. I'm so sorry. Big D, appreciate you, mate, for becoming a member. Welcome on board. I'm not sure if you're a pony or a puppy, but I really appreciate your support, mate. Look forward to seeing you here.
I need to go for a pony, actually.
Well, we'll 2 more minutes.
It might be a puppy. It might be a puppy.
We'll see. We'll find out in a minute. Drew's in a big up. Drew, sorry, buddy. I didn't see these pop through. I just saw the last one come in. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I better go and check. Drew's in saying, great conversation as always. Appreciate you, mate. Big up, everyone. Chat, come on. Let's smash the likes. Terrible ratio. A terrible ratio. This is the thing I haven't seen. What's going on with the ratios? You got to smash the likes, guys. There's 430 people here. We need to be on at least 250. At least 250. Just smash the like button. It's just free to do now. Free to do. Need to get above 200 before we finish off. Please help us out. It really helps the channel.
We're on 245.
Oh, we're on 245. Oh, that's all right. I won't ask anymore. That's fine. But if you can get to 300,
let's get to 400.
Let's get to 400.
It's embarrassing. Come on, guys. We put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, we do. These guys give up their time on the channel. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you, Drew, for everything you do in the background, mate. Timman007, big up. Timman says, if Dyer plays in this high line, we ain't winning any games, guys. Look at Chelsea's second half goals. He's just not good enough and will cost us badly. Yeah. Look, I don't know, Timman. I thought Dyer had a good game, personally. I thought he was okay. But I think that when you're playing, you're literally on the halfway line. You're using the halfway line as an offside trap. Like, you don't even need VAR to draw the lines because the halfway line is the line, right? And I don't know. To me, I think that it's what's going to happen if you do it that way. And then, like I say, if you hunt with the horses, then you can't really hunt with the hounds. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure I'm blaming Dyer for anything. For me, yesterday's responsibility falls on reckless decisions from a couple of players. But appreciate you, Tim, man. Appreciate you, Drew. Appreciate Big D. Appreciate everyone in the chat. Guys, Johnny, I'll put your link right here. Guys, make sure you get over and show your love to the fellas at their various places. Johnny, what's happening on Twitter, mate? You got a Spaces coming up?
Well, I was going to do one before the game yesterday. I would have been eating humble pie, I think. Yeah, we will be doing some... I'm off to Wolves, so I'll definitely be doing one before the Wolves game.
Are you going to Wolves as well? I'll see you up there.
Yeah,
nice.
I'll see you up there. See me there. If you follow me here, also, you can go onto my Instagram account, which seems to be growing very, very quickly. seems to be quite popular, Instagram for football. I always thought it was Twitter. Twitter's for the abuse.
Football's for and Instagram's for the clips.
Instagram's more of clips and stories and a bit of banter, and Twitter's for the place to face the masses who clip you and tell you in 1875 you said this and produce it. No, but it's all good, all love. And you can also find us on Tottenham on Tour and your management, which we recorded this morning. So go and have a look at that. With myself and Brian Daigle discussed last night's game where we lost 4-1, in case you were on Planet Zog.
Appreciate you, Johnny. Well done, mate.
Thanks
always
for having me on, as always.
Appreciate you, mate. Dave, what's crack-a-lacking over on the Irish Hotspur?
Yeah, look, I'll be doing a watch along for the under-21s tonight. So if anyone wants to maybe, come in and join in, feel free to do that. Yeah, and you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur. I do a lot of content over there, so get over and check it out. Last thing I will say is I know people are let down by maybe a Destiny, a Doji, and a Romero, but they've been absolutely fantastic this season. And especially a Doji, right? He's a young kid. Let's not hammer in on him. Let's just sort of put it down to maybe inexperience and let him come back, because the reality is we're going to need these guys as soon as they come back. So let's not grate too much on them.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It is what it is. Learning lessons, and guys, we go again. We never stop, but this show is about to stop. So I'll say thank you to everyone for joining in. Thanks for everyone in the chats who's been part of the show. You've been awesome in there getting involved. Get over to Irish Hotspur, especially tonight. I'll be in the background watching the under 21s with him, and get over to Johnny on Twitter and on Tottenham on Tour. And guys, you'll see me. I'm thinking about doing a second show later on tonight. Because I've got other guests who want to come on. Well, other guests want to come on and give their opinion on what's happened. So,
you're gonna be talking Spurs again, Sean.
We talking Spurs, yeah.
Spoken Spurs. We do not have a Spurs weather channel. Maybe there's really a unique USP we're missing here.
Yeah, 100%. I'm thinking about getting a landscape gardener in just to talk about the blades of grass, how even the ground was, and all that stuff as well. You've got to overanalyze everything. That's all we have to talk about now.
Squidgy underfoot. Yeah.
Like, subscribe, and comment, guys. And as always, come on, you Spurs. And what do you say, Dave? In Big Ange, we trust.
We never stop.
Cheers, E. See you later.
Take care.